Yo, what's going on, everyone? It's your boy Ben, and today I'm back with another banger video. Here I am back with the 32 team NFL season review. Also, just future look for the aspect of their team going on to the future next season and everything like that, free agency and the draft. So yeah, let me go and start off. Introduce the team that we got today. We have the Washington Commanders. Yes, sir. They got the number 2 overall pick in this upcoming draft, and there's a lot of question marks when it comes to their team. So first and foremost, let's talk about their season a little bit, shall we? At quarterback, they had Sam Howell for a majority of the season. Yeah, right. They did have Sam Howell. I'm pretty sure he only missed like a game or two, but even then, man, he was an interception merchant.
Yeah, you could see like this right here is just a really bad pass by him in my opinion. Yeah, just a bad pass.
Let's put it straight up. He was an interception merchant, and that's just the best way to put it. Uh, Obviously the Commanders didn't have an O line to protect him at all. Like he was just putting out like fluke throws. Like he was just throwing that ball, like just hoping someone would catch it.
Prime example of the O line being completely garbage right here, and him just throwing up a pass that's just like I don't even know. It's just a horrible pass to be honest, horrible read, and yeah, it pretty much sums up the season for the Commanders.
Their wide receiver core, it was Curtis Samuel, Dotson, and it was obviously Terry McLaurin, Scary Terry. And Scary Terry, I felt like was just underwhelming this season. I don't know. I feel like obviously having Sam Howell as your quarterback, it wasn't really the best. And I could feel like Scary Terry could have done better with, a better quarterback. But even then, I don't know if his tenure in Washington will stay as long as, some Commanders fan wishes. Because I know they're still very high on Scary Terry. And I think Scary Terry's still a great player. No doubt about that. Their running back, Brian Robinson, he had a little leap compared to his year last year. And yeah, I think he had a better leap. And I think I for sure see a future of him still with the Commanders. But Sam Howell, going back to him, there was just so many throws I seen Sam Howell with the Commanders. Just, not the best throws, just interception merchant.
Oh, just take it easy, man.
And I think that's really the best way to put it. Their head coach was Ron Rivera, which, as soon as the season ended, I think it was the first coach that got fired, to be honest. Ron Rivera is no longer with the Washington Commanders. He has 40-ounce bounce. Yeah, unfortunate. They've got embarrassed a lot this past season. The Cowboys really did a number on them on Thanksgiving, and that was a very, like, everybody was watching that game, and they literally just got twerked on by the Cowboys. I won't even lie. Like, straight up, like, spanked, to be quite fair. And that's when I realized, yeah, bro, they're cooked. Their season's cooked. Like, absolutely cooked. And one game they lost to the Bears. So I also was like, yeah, they're cooked. But even then, I feel like the Washington Commanders, their future is looking more bright as soon as this offseason started. And I'll tell you guys why. Their head coach signing was, Dan Quinn, the defensive coordinator for the Dallas Cowboys. Not a bad signing. Not a bad signing at all. I think it's right in the middle of, good and mid. Like, it's right in the middle right there. Maybe like an above average signing. I guess that's the best way to put it. I'm a decent fan. I'm not gonna say big fan. I'm a decent fan of Dan Quinn and what he's capable of. I think he had a bad stretch, like last stretch with the Dallas Cowboys. Obviously, that Bills game, the Dolphins game, and obviously the Packers game specifically. He had just a bad stretch as DC towards the end of the stretch, especially that Lions last drive that really had the Lions winning it with the ineligible player. Yeah, it just like it was a bad stretch for Dan Quinn as DC towards the end of the season for the Dallas Cowboys. But now he's the head coach of the Washington Commanders. And I think it was a decent signing. Like hiring more so, should I say? It was decent. I feel like he could bring a new level of energy to the Commanders for sure. It's kind of interesting him going from Dallas to Washington. I think that's an interesting aspect. And their OC, no longer Eric Bieniemy. It is none other than Cliff Kingsbury. He's back in the NFL, and he's the OC of the Commanders. And this has a lot of people thinking. A lot of people, heads rolling and everything like that. Does that mean that they're going to trade up for Caleb Williams? Go from number 2 to number 1 with the Bears, maybe a historic hole? Because I read the report that the Bears are looking for a historic hole to get, moving back in the draft. And I feel like that's obviously going to take a historic haul for the Commanders to move up. And I feel like maybe it'll be the number 2 pick, a future pick, like future first, Scary Terry maybe Brian Robinson. Who knows? Who knows? But at the same time, I feel like I wouldn't be surprised if they get it done. I wouldn't be surprised. But even then, that number 2 overall pick, they're going quarterback, and we all know it. They're going quarterback, and we all know it. I feel like their belief in Sam Howell, he's just straight up going to be a QB2. I think that's the best way to put it. If I was the Commanders and I look at both quarterbacks, and I say both, not Caleb Williams, more so Jaden Daniels and Drake May, and you have to make a decision there, I really would take my time, look at all the film, go to the combine after the combine, and make a pure, like clear cut decision on who you want your franchise quarterback to possibly be. Do you want a Drake May or do you want a Jaden Daniels, the Heisman winner? I have seen tape for Jaden Daniels more so, and I'm very impressed for what I see. Drake May, I haven't dove into his tape a lot, but I will maybe in the next few days, so I'll give you more details about that. Obviously, I've seen Caleb Williams tape. Playing the Pac-12, the defenses there are not the best, but he obviously is still an elite talent. Throws that he makes, how he runs with the ball is still elite. So Washington, if they feel like trading up, obviously the OC of the USC Trojans was Cliff Kingsbury. So I feel like that might be a correlation that they might want to go for Caleb Williams, maybe reunite Cliff and Caleb together in Washington. I feel like that might be a thing, and I wouldn't be surprised if that happens by any means. But I feel like the Bears are just going to take Caleb, and we'll get into that when the Bears season reviews come into play. But at the same time, I feel like they might just have to go with either Drake May or Jaden Daniels, and those are not bad options whatsoever. I just want to say that right now, not bad options whatsoever. Big fan of both of them. More so Jaden Daniels, just because I've dove into his tape already. If you guys want me to review those three quarterbacks tape, like with you guys, like by video, I could for sure do that. Just let me know. But I for sure got to review Drake May still. And I'll tell you guys this: I've seen Kurt Benkert, big NFL insider now more so because he does content creation and he's moved away from the quarterback. He was a former quarterback of the Green Bay Packers. Shout out Kurt Benkert, big fan of his content. He was kind of saying that Washington should trade back and get an O lineman and kind of find a quarterback through free agency, or maybe a quarterback more so later on in the draft, maybe a JJ McCarthy or something like that. And I wouldn't be that opposed to that for Washington. I think Washington has a bright future more so because I feel like as soon as they get this quarterback situation, I feel like it'll be big. Obviously, through free agency, they're going to have to try to protect whatever rookie quarterback does come in for the Washington Commanders. And who is it going to be? I'm not sure. And I can't tell you a clear cut who I would pick if I was them because I really do need to dive into that Drake May tape like I keep repeating. Sound like a broken clock and stuff. But yeah, it's just going to be interesting for Washington. They got a lot of hope, to be honest, with that number 2 overall pick. Their defense wasn't the best. It had glimpses. Sometimes I saw decent glimpses of the defense playing better, but I'm still not a big fan. Obviously, they traded Montez Sweat and they traded Chase Young. That was pretty much where their defense called it wraps, to be honest, for this season. But I do feel like they're probably maybe going to draft a defensive player, multiple defensive players later on with their later picks in the drafts. But yeah, even if not, maybe get I wouldn't say that. But imagine Brian Burns goes to the Commanders. I feel like that'll be a big signing right there. But at the same time, if I'm the Panthers, I'd just re-sign him, structure his contract better, and get that extension going for Brian Burns. Just extend Brian Burns if I'm the Panthers. But that's enough talking about that. I feel like they're gonna go try to see if they could get any defensive players through free agency. I think Washington, they're building something little by little. Trying to regain, being known as a threat in the NFC East, because right now they're not by any means, but they could get there. They can get there, and it's just going to be up to, the front office to see if they could get them there, the GM, and, losing Eric Bieniemy, I feel like they didn't want to bring him back, and at the end of the day, if they feel like that's the best decision, then let it be, but I'm hopeful that whoever they draft for their quarterback position with the second overall pick will be their guy for the future, and I think they will be, whoever it is, Drake May, Jaden Daniels, or maybe they even go for Caleb Williams. Who knows? I would not be surprised if that's the case. I will not. But yeah, I think the Washington Commanders look hopeful. Their season wasn't the best, but I don't think we expected it to be good. I didn't think we expected it to be that bad, but it for sure wasn't like, oh yeah, they're gonna be winning the NFC East. No, we knew they were gonna be the last team in the NFC East. We knew it. So yeah, it just depends how they built through draft and free agency now. Take their time, let it pan out the right way, and we'll just see who they take in the draft. Obviously, I'm gonna keep up to date with the combine, see how every rookie quarterback looks there. I'll come back with y'all, but right now I think the Commanders have a lot of hope going into next season. But like I said, don't stress it out. Just let the time pan out, and we'll just go from there for the Commanders if I was them. But yeah, other than that, it's your boy Ben. Let me know what you guys think about the Commanders and how their future's looking. And obviously the rough season that they had, but it's looking like there could be some bright aspects in Washington D.C. soon, and maybe that new hiring of head coach Dan Quinn could elevate some confidence in the boys. But other than that, it's been your boy Ben, and I'll catch you guys on the flippity flip, boys.